What is up? What is up? What is up, guys? Welcome back to another stream. Apologies for being a little bit late today. Was setting everything up. I hope everybody's doing good, and welcome back to another live stream here on the channel, guys. So let me know if you can hear me loud and clear in the chat. Hope everybody is doing good. We are back with another live stream. I'm just gonna have everybody tune into this one and share it inside Discord, the link, so everybody's inside. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear, and we're gonna be doing another great session today. Let me drop the link. Let's see. What's up, guys? What's up? Okay, fantastic. I think everything is working and you guys can hear me loud and clear. Good. So everybody's tuning in now. Yeah, guys, how are we doing? Where's everybody tuning in from today? Let me know where you're from. Fuzzle, good to see you again, bro. Man, so much opportunities within the markets, guys. Looking at a lot of different things at the moment. Let me know if my voice is cracked or not. I had some issues with the microphone recently, but I hope that it works now properly. In the meantime, a lot of money is being made, guys. A lot of people in some really good positions, man. So, dying to share some stuff with you guys today. In the meantime, make sure to be inside Discord. I did a good announcement inside Discord today about Avalanche, the Trading Academy. So if you're not inside Discord, make sure to be there, because what we did actually is we passed the 400k challenge, man, with him. So Avalanche passed the 400k challenge purely based on fundamentals. So some really good stuff going on. So yeah, let's just dive in. Enough talking. I see everybody starting to tune in, and then the rest will just kind of like follow in later. So yeah, fantastic. So first of all, guys, again, thanks for being here all the way from Italy, from Cameroon, from India. I see from Vleuten. Bert, very close by, man. I was in Vleuten actually over the weekend. I'm a lot in the region of Utrecht, like we say in Holland, guys, or in Dutch. But now we're in Amsterdam, inside the office. So what we're going to do is just quickly check in on the market, see what's going on. So obviously, first of all, the major thing that you guys have been noticing is Euro USD falling in towards the ground. Russian, we do daily market outlooks, but we post them on a different channel. So Euro USD obviously selling in towards the downside after the Euro has been weak over the course of today. So the Euro this morning still pushed up a little bit higher. As you can see, around, what was it here, 7 a.m. But since then, we've been pushing in towards the downside after it was announced that the cabinet in France has fallen and that they voted Macron out. They said they don't have faith in him, don't have trust in him anymore. And that's causing euro pairs across the board to fall, guys. We can see that Euro GBP has been falling in towards the downside over the course of today. Obviously, we can also see Euro Yen accelerate rapidly in towards the downside today. And also Euro NZD, with the New Zealand dollar being extremely strong, has rapidly been declining as well. So we can clearly across the board see that the euro has been selling off after that bad news from France came in. Obviously, when we look at the Eurozone, we look at the Eurozone as a whole. However, what you need to understand very well is that France is obviously one of the largest economies in the Eurozone together with Germany, right? So we have Germany, and then we have obviously France as well. We have Spain. These are kind of like the major powerhouses in Europe that we always have to keep an eye on. So whenever something bad goes on with either France or Germany, that's most of the times when you'll definitely see kind of like, an effect take place on the euro. Oh, sorry, guys. Thank you, Sarab, for adjusting me. So not Macron. Macron's president. The Prime Minister is out. Yeah, correct. So the Prime Minister is out. Sorry, guys. So the Prime Minister is out, and that's currently causing, obviously then Euro weakness. So Euro USD overall, Jimmy's talking about some Euro USD shorts. So Euro overall, of course, is still kind of like in that range play. So there is still potential for it to sell off. Personally, I was kind of looking at this as maybe a breakout, and then for the overall continuation in towards the highs to take place. Now, with euro obviously being kind of like in this demand zone, this is not a demand zone that I'm really looking to go long inside, just because of the fact that what has now been released on the fundamentals, and next to that also just purely the fact that we're still relatively, how do you say, consolidative, right? We're still pretty much stuck within this overall piece of rangy price action. So what I want to talk about with you guys today is something a lot cleaner, and that is obviously the yen pairs. So EURUSD indeed gave a double 1 hour fractal break back in towards the lows, but for myself, the yen basket has been looking a lot more interesting, guys. If we look at how the Japanese yen has been trading in itself, obviously on Friday we start seeing the yen push up higher very strongly from that yearly open level. So from a clean analysis perspective, what becomes very clear here is that we have an area of demand, right? So this here is your sell down before a bigger buy up, causing that internal market structure definitely to break. Now, this is a strong or relatively strong demand zone. Why? Well, because it liquidated a low here to the left. Now, the only bad thing about this demand zone in itself is obviously the fact that there's no liquidity within the overall push up, right? So if we look at this overall move in towards the highs, you can clearly see that there's no liquidity, right? So what happens is that you always need to liquidate the initial reaction on the demand zone that is then created, okay? That is extremely important to take a note of. So what we then see happening here with the overall yen basket is that this low here, so the initial reaction that caused kind of like this upside push, that is where a lot of traders start to go along, right? They see kind of like this double fractal break in towards the highs, and after this high break, they're like, okay, Fabio, we're ready now to kind of like start pushing at least into pretty much these descending highs here, right? That's what they're then looking for. But then they see the market drop again, and then they think, we're bearish again, and we're going to be looking for more shorts. Now, what you then see here is that this initial reaction low is just getting liquidated, and then you see that we have that in combination with the yearly open. We tap into the yearly open and we start seeing some bullish price action. So currently I'm still looking for some further upside on the yen basket. The only thing that is standing in its way is the monthly open, guys. This is literally the cheat code in trading. Load in the opens indicator. This is an indicator by SBTNC. Again, no gatekeeping here on the Trading Academy live streams, guys. You know, it's me, Fabio. We always share everything that we find out. The daily, the weekly, the monthly, the yearly opens by SBTNC. That is the indicator that you need to use. These levels, guys, these are so bloody strong. You can see yearly back bounce up into the monthly. And then if we break the monthly, the free monthly is pretty much going to be my target. And then if I look at that free monthly, I see that it perfectly aligns with this overall swing high that we have here, right? And then you can see that this is kind of like a perfect trend line in towards the downside that we're currently rejecting. So I personally think that if we can break this overall descending trend line, we're going to fly to the fucking moon, man. We're going to fly to the free M. This is the moon, man. This is the ugliest moon you've ever seen. Fuck. Sorry for the language, guys, again, but how do we draw a moon? Like half a moon? Or is this like a fucked up banana? Could kind of be, but this is like the moon. Or do we need to make it round? Like it's kind of like round. It's easier just to do a moon like this, I guess. You know, like with the little holes on it. You guys kind of understand where we're trading towards. So we're trading towards the half banana, or the ugly banana, and the ugly moon, and that's the free monthly level. So that's pretty much where we want to be trading towards, in towards the highs. On the yen basket, if we can break out of this descending trend line. I personally expect this overall descending trend line to break. Why? Because a lot of these pairs are at critical levels as well. If we look, for example, at an Aussie yen, we can very clearly see here that Aussie yen has been rejecting what the yearly open level, guys. And every single time we come into that yearly open level, you can see that the market interacts with it. The market absolutely loves the yearly open, guys, and I'm simply looking for it again to give us some downside reaction. Obviously on Aussie yen, we were already looking for shorts back in the days after taking this little internal high over here in towards the downside. However, we never really saw any bearish reaction on the lower time frame. But what I'm now seeing here from Aussie yen is a clear strong push in towards the downside, giving us a fractal break. So what I'm personally looking for here is for Aussie yen to continue its overall route in towards the downside, guys. That is personally the short that I'm looking to see play out throughout the course of this, let's say, rest of the week, back down towards that monthly open level, guys. So this is currently a position that I'm also in. I'm looking for Aussie yen to continue selling off in towards the downside. I like that the initial reaction here has been liquidated. Then here we get the confirmation with the 4-hour fractal break, and I'm now looking for this to continue in towards the downside. Now, obviously, me sharing this on stream will probably cause Aussie yen now to reverse to the bloody stop loss. But let's see if we're lucky and we just continue its overall leg down. But this is what I'm looking for in Aussie yen. Now, other pairs that have been interesting are obviously pairs like a CAD yen or like a USD yen. Now, for myself, CAD yen is a very interesting one. We highlighted this as well last week. Overall, and GJ as well, by the way, guys. We're going to dive into all of them today. So CAD yen, again, what do we have here? We have this little bump in the road over here, and then here we have the liquidity low. So there's obviously liquidity resting above this high, liquidity resting above or underneath this low. So what you can clearly see here, liquidity resting here, liquidity resting here. So all we're simply doing is just trading from liquidity to liquidity, right? Now, CAD yen in itself is a pretty interesting pair for me. Why? Well, because when we came in towards, let's say, this massive bump in the road here, and it's kind of similar to the price action that you're now seeing on Aussie yen, you take out this high over here, then what happens? You see that the market kind of like continues, right? So we're fractal bullish at the time. The market comes with fractal bullish structure in towards the highs at the time. So what you're seeing here is, okay, this is the overall fractal high. The market continues in towards that high with bullish market structure in the sense that the sell before the buy is in control. Here you see sell before the buy in control. Here you see sell before the buy is in control. And then here again, you see the sell before the buy remains in control. So we follow the sell before the buy all the way back up in towards the bump in the road. Now, when the market comes into a bump in the road, also known as a liquidity point, you can look for a potential reversal. Now, how do you understand that the market is then ready to look for a potential reversal? Well, we need two things. We need the overall swing high, and of course, we need what? We need the overall change of character. Now, let's say you view this here as the 4-hour break of structure, and this here is your overall kind of like swing impulse up, right? That then means that we're trading where? We're trading after the break of structure. So after a break of structure, you expect a pullback, and then what else do we need? In order to trade the pullback, we need the liquidity high and we need the change of character. So the market after the trade of after the break of structure comes into what? Comes into a liquidity high here on the daily time frame, and then at that point in time, I'm looking for the overall reversal to take place in towards the downside. So here we see the initial range or the initial shock in towards the downside, enticing a lot of people to go short. Right, a lot of people are now going short, stop loss above the highs, and then they target obviously what, like a 1 to 2, whatever, doesn't really matter. So a lot of people start going short, but guys, the overall fractal structure remains bullish. So we know as traders that this still has potential to push further up again. Now as well, if you look kind of like in this leg up, you see this little wick here, that then acts as liquidity on the lower time frame. What is that going to be? It's going to be a bump in the road. So you see again the bump in the road that is being used as liquidity to then fuel maybe another leg in towards the highs. So what happens? The market then gives us initial reaction in towards the downside, but then what does it do? It continues to consolidate, and then without any momentum, it's potentially or eventually it's going to reverse back in towards the potential stop loss, or what could have been a stop loss. Now look at the daily time frame. Now a fractal structure shift is being provided. That then means here that this is then your buy before the sell. That did what? That liquidated a high. You have here this little kind of like valley of death, valley of liquidity that you want to see get taken out. The overall value of liquidity then gets taken out, and then the real sell has the potential to start taking place in towards the downside. So what we then see is the overall reversal, and then what do we get? We get the retest and then the overall continuation in towards the downside. So let's say you missed out on this initial push in towards the downside. Well, don't worry, because we're just building up a lot of liquidity above this kind of like descending highs, right? So then what happens? The market comes back up to take out that liquidity, and then from there it continues back its overall leg in towards the downside. Now, how could you then have capitalized on this? Well, what do we see happening once we get in towards that overall swing high, in towards that overall liquidity point? Again, what do we see? We see the 4-hour fractal change of structure back in towards the downside, and then you trade back down towards the other liquidity low, which then takes place. And over the weekend we saw another retracement, and now it's continuing its leg down. Now a better short in my opinion would have been USD JPY. Fabio, your USD shot. Yes, let me check your USD in a second again, guys. Now a better one is obviously USD JPY. Now USD JPY has been a setup that I've been preaching, I think, every single damn live session, guys, over the past week. I'm pretty sure that we called this both on Tuesday and on Thursday, that this was the short. Who remembers from Thursday's stream that we talked about USD JPY shorts? Because USD JPY has just played out to absolute perfection. What we saw here again was an overall range play, man. Fuck, this is just too beautiful, man. When we see this, I really fall in love with price, because what we had overall was this is the low of the range, and then this was the high of the range over here, right? So if we just quickly replay this overall, you can clearly see here, okay, this is the overall range that we have, right? So this is the overall range that we have. The market comes towards the overall liquidity high. So this is like the two liquidity points again that we have. And again, all we're doing, guys, is just trading from liquidity to liquidity, right? These are kind of like the two positions that you're going to be looking at. When the market is ranging, it doesn't make sense to look at structure. You can look at structure all you want. The market is just consolidating. So what do we then have? You see the market come back up. It gives an initial reaction. Again, what do we need for the reversal in towards the downside? We need to, one, grab liquidity above a liquidity high. Two, we need to see a change of character in towards the downside. Where do we then have the change of character? We have the change of character here. We wait for the change of character to take place. That then means that the buy before the sell is your area of supply. That is then where you can place a sell stop loss above the high, and then what you target the low of the range, the liquidity low that we have positioned over here. Then you could clearly see the market retraces and then eventually heads down all the way back in towards the lows. Again, a beautiful 1 to 2 risk to reward hit. Obviously here you're trading in a range, so you always need to also take note of, for example, this internal liquidity low that we're reacting to. There's no guarantee that we're going to move all the way back down to the lowest low, but again, a very, very beautiful setup here on USD JPY. Now, the only other position that I would be looking at is, for example, a long once we sweep, for example, this low over here, as this is the current range that we're trading inside of, right? And then the only other short that I would now consider is a short above this overall high over here, as that is, for example, where we have these descending highs. So we have descending highs and the range liquidity that could cause for a potential short if we come there. At the same time, here we have the ascending lows taking place over here with trendline liquidity, and once that trend line would get taken out and this overall low here of the range as well, then we could look for a reversal in towards the highs. That is the only trade that there would be over here on USD JPY. Now, moving on, looking at other potential positions, then I see a lot of you are currently in EURUSD shorts. Now, for myself, EURUSD is nearly ready, I would say, if I were trading this from a range perspective. As you guys know, I am just always looking for 4-hour fractal breaks. It's just more the way that I personally trade. So for myself, EURUSD would have to break this low, and then I could look for a short position, for example, back in towards the downside to take out the lows and trade it back towards the lower bound of the overall range. Okay, so that for me would need to take place if I were personally to get into any EURUSD short. So yes, it has indeed now taken out the high of the overall range with this kind of like little red box. I'm going to make red now. So yes, it's taken out the high of the range, but for it to continue its overall leg in towards the downside, back down towards the 25% of the range, I would need to see a 4-hour fractal break, and then personally I would be getting into potential short positions on euro. The fractal structure break indicator is in the link to that indicator is in the description of this video. So now, for the rest, GPUSD is currently not at an area of interest for myself. If I were to trade this, I personally would need to see a little bit more upside. Personally, this morning in the market outlook, I talked about this high over here as being of interest for myself, just because when I look at an overall impulse in towards the downside, like the main thing that I always tend to do is I just look, okay, what are the liquidity points that are in line with the overall market structure that I'm currently trading, right? So when we look at this as kind of like an impulse in towards the downside, because this for me here, this is the impulsive phase in towards the downside, then what do we get? We get kind of like the overall pullback phase now here that I'm going to make orange for you guys. And then what I'm looking for is for the next continuation phase in towards the downside, right? So we go from what was once a very, very bullish market in towards the highs. So we end that overall bullish market with what do we end it? We end it with a 1 high, a 2nd high, a 3rd high, and then here we have the break of structure in towards the downside. So once that break of structure takes place, we expect an overall pullback to take place, and then we want to trade the overall continuation in towards the downside. Now, for continuation in towards the downside to take place, we need to look for 2 things. 1, we need to look for what, guys? We need to look for bumps in the road. Those are the areas of interest for ourselves that we need to get taken out in order to look for that continuation trade. So here on GU, I had 2 areas of interest. Well, 3. I kind of also had this little bump in the road here at the time, I remember, on the overall pullback. So I'm looking for short from here, I'm looking for short from here, and I'm looking for short from here. And then all I need to do is I need to look for confirmation once we reach that point of interest, and then we can get into a potential short position, okay? So what I'm looking for here on the 4-hour time frame is, again, okay, I'm ready to look for short once we come into this liquidity high here, this liquidity high here, or this liquidity high here to trade the next continuation phase. So what happens? Well, we continue. Okay, so boom. So here, what happens when we come into this massive bump in the road? What do we see on the 4-hour time frame happen? We see a 4-hour change of character take place. So once that 4-hour change of character takes place, we can get a potential entry back in towards the downside. And then we can trade, for example, a 1 to 2 or 1 to 2.5 or even 1 to 3 risk to reward. So from there, we retest the overall supply zone and then we head back in towards the downside and we hit a beautiful 1 to 3 risk to reward. Okay, so that's then the first position that you can take there on GPUSD. Now, the second position that you can then take is if the market were to push up even higher. Now here again, there was another trade, by the way, on this internal high. Again, this is a liquidity high, and then a 4-hour change of character again took place. So that's kind of like the last attempt for myself that I would take to personally trade the overall continuation. Then obviously we got that GP news that pushed GU down lower, but then after that, the market just kind of like continues to range. So for now, personally on GPUSD, I'm just waiting for more liquidity to get grabbed before I personally would get into any new short positions. So for myself, I would, for example, look at this as a major high over here. So this as a major high over here that I would want to see get taken out in order to then look for a potential new shorting opportunity. So at the moment, GU is not yet of interest for myself. 4-hour fractal break has also not taken place. So I'm just sitting on my hands on this one. I would prefer for this to head up higher one more time, take out this high over here, or for it to push up even higher and take out this high over here. And this is then obviously the higher probability kind of like liquidity high / bump in the road that I would preferably want to see get taken out there on GPUSD. So hope that is for you guys clear on GPUSD, what I'm looking for. Then on AUDUSD, AUDUSD, yeah, I mean, AUDUSD is kind of like bullish on the immediate time frame as well. Here we have a swing high of liquidity. Fractal internal daily is bullish. I don't see a short, man, to be very honest. I don't see a short personally on this just yet. Could it sell off? Obviously yes, but 4-hour fractal bullish, daily fractal bullish, momentum is in towards the upside. I'm not calling the top on this thing, especially not when we have equal or like a liquidity high over here, but that's just my personal opinion. Again, I would then much rather go for something like an Aussie yen that already has had a 4-hour fractal break, that is rejecting what a yearly open level, that has liquidated a previous high here to the left. That is a trade for myself that makes sense and that I can actually take with full conviction and say, okay, this, even if this is a loss, I don't give a fuck. It's going to be a good trade in the end, in my personal opinion. Okay, so that's a trade that I'm currently in. Aussie yen short. USD CHF, yes, that is a nice trade as well. Congratulations if you were in that. That has definitely got some potential to pull back. Look at where USD CHF is currently trading. Obviously, the Swiss franc is also relatively weak today, as that is in the same area as the Eurozone. With the Eurozone being weak, we're seeing now also a weak Swiss franc, causing dollar Swiss to push up higher from that 3 monthly level open. So there is potential for this to push a little bit higher. Exactly on the 3 month open, what do we get? We get a 1 hour double fractal break. So that has potential to retrace potentially, that has the potential to retrace higher for now. So yeah, keep an eye on USD CHF for some further upside. Is it the highest probability trade out there? No. Why? Well, because the overall swing structure is bearish. So first of all, swing structure is like this. We retrace to the 0.5 fib. So ultimately what you're doing here is you're going long inside what? Inside the bearish impulse, right? Because overall we had a bearish impulse in towards the downside, which was this bearish phase over here. Then we had a very small pullback phase here to the left. So this here was your pullback phase. Let's make that orange. And now again, where are we trading at? We're trading now again in the impulsive phase in towards the downside. So kind of like the only trade or the only conviction that you have here for a long on USD CHF is that 3 monthly level open together with a double 1 hour fractal break. Not the highest of conviction to take along, but again, overextended move in towards the downside has taken place. The Swiss franc is weak fundamentally today, and the dollar is getting a lot of strength with that euro uncertainty. So therefore, yes, dollar Swiss could make a bounce up higher, and I do see it kind of like as a short-term opportunity to get some returns on that. Do keep just in mind that it is not technically an optimal play to take with a lot of probability, or a very high probability. Now, some other pairs that we can look at, guys: NZD USD shorts personally as well. Let's see where NZD USD is at. Yeah, so NZD USD is in some way more interesting than an AUD USD because NZD USD has actually taken out some liquidity here in the form of, let's say, this high over here, or let's just call it this little bump in the road, right? So what's happened, this is the overall impulse down. Here we break market structure. Then what is the overall bump in the road to take out? That is this over here. So here, ultimately not ideal to go short. There was some kind of like short-term returns to be gained, but ultimately, again, what we're looking at here on NZD USD is that this is the impulse down, right? So let's kind of like look how we can identify it previously. So this here is the overall impulse down, right? So in that impulse down, what do? We recognize the overall little bumps in the road. So where do we have a bump in the road? We have a bump in the road, for example, over here. But I would just personally take this high because this is like the real bump in the road, right? Together with this one. So we have two bumps in the road here on NZD USD in the past. So we had pretty much this one, and we had this one, and you could kind of consider this one as well, to be very honest. So what then happens? Okay, so we come into this little first bump in the road, but you can see the market structure remained bullish at the time. It chopped a little bit and then it headed up higher. Then what you see is that when the real liquidity gets taken here to the left with all of these descending highs, then we see a much stronger push in towards the downside. Also, this is like the 618 fib, so better value than, for example, taking a short over here. So that's kind of like what you again want to be doing when the market starts to retrace in towards the upside here in its retracement phase. Always look back at the impulsive phase where there was liquidity, and that is liquidity that you want to get grabbed. So let's just do the exact same thing here again on NZD USD, right? So now for NZD USD, indeed, this here is your overall swing high, and this here is your overall swing low. Now, what we're then looking at is internal liquidity points, which is this bump in the road. This is actually pretty much within this overall impulse in towards the downside, the only real bump in the road where there is a lot of liquidity, in my personal opinion, that I want to see get taken out to then look for a continuation play in towards the downside. So for now, for NZD USD, we're still in the overall pullback phase, right, where we're still relatively bullish also internally from a market structure perspective. You can clearly see we have a high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high, right? So break of structure, break of structure. Now the market structure is swing low, swing high. So from an intraday perspective here on the 4-hour time frame, we're trading at a premium after the break of structure. So we have here a break of structure, here we're trading in premium. So we have two confluences. Then third confluence is obviously looking at liquidity. So here we have a liquidity high, right? So we have the liquidity high, that's the third confluence. And pretty much liquidity high, we can just view it as supply. But to be honest, I want supply now to be created together with the 4/5 kind of confluence, which is the fractal break. So what I'm now waiting for is for the fractal break to take place, because once the fractal break takes place, that then means that this buy before the sell here becomes your supply zone, and then I would have a much higher probability trade to take back towards, for example, a new lower low. And then obviously you would have to monitor what happens here at the monthly open level slash this area of demand over here. But overall, it looks good to then really start selling off in towards the downside. So if you're looking to trade NZD USD, then I would personally be waiting for a setup like that, as opposed to trading what you guys maybe would want to say, let's sell NZD USD now. Obviously now there's a 1-hour fractal break and you're seeing some momentum, but this thing could just tell you, okay, fuck you, the overall demand zone is still in control, the overall sell before the buy here is still in control. Like, why would you short this? But that's just my personal opinion. Again, I love trading the 4-hour time frame. It's a little bit more conservative, but it will help me stay a little bit more safe in a market, especially like this one, where there's still quite some manipulation going on. So that's what we have there for NZD USD. Hope you guys understand my perspective. Also shared it there on GBP/USD. Next to that, then Aussie yen. That's kind of like my main sell that I'm liking at the moment to continue pushing in towards the downside. Let's see how that one plays out. Yeah, I'm in that. Then NZD JPY. NZD JPY is a little bit different to AUD JPY. I prefer AUD JPY just because of the fact that it has a 4-hour fractal break given, and it interacted with the yearly level, and it had kind of like the double top, right? So we saw, and with double top I just mean liquidation of the initial reaction. So if we look at Aussie yen compared to NZD yen, you can see that let me just get it up on the chart over here. So you can see here that with Aussie yen we have the initial reaction to the yearly open. I don't have the yearly open indicator on this one, but it's obviously this dotted line that you're now seeing. So with Aussie yen, we actually interact with the yearly open and we see the initial reaction to the yearly level get liquidated, and then we see a 4-hour fractal break to confirm, in my opinion, then that it wants to head down lower. So that's why I'm looking for Aussie yen to head down lower. NZJPY could head down lower as well, but yeah, for me Aussie yen just makes more sense from a technical perspective. So that's what I'm looking for there. So yeah, that's that. And then to close it off as well, GJ, oof, what can I say about GJ, guys? I think all of you know what's been going on with GJ, guys. GJ was one of those juicy ones. Who has been in a GJ short? I want to hear it in the chat, guys. Who has been in GJ's shorts, guys? Sarab, you know me, man. I hate AD entity, but I'll have a look at it for you because you're always here, brother. I appreciate it. Guys, who has been trading GJ? Because GJ as well is one of those pairs. If you watch back the streams from last week, we talked about this as well. We were looking for a raid of the overall high and then downside push, or a raid of the overall low and then an upside push. Who remembers from last week? Because this has been clean price action. And again, this is a replica of what I was talking about at the beginning of this stream. USD-JPY. It's literally a one-on-one copy, man. We literally have the bloody liquidity above the overall range here. Right, so we have equal highs. You can see clearly that the blue dotted line does not get taken out here. Here not, here not. So that means that there's a shit ton of liquidity resting above that overall high, man. So you want to see that liquidity get grabbed. And again, I talked about this last week, man. Fuzzle, you know it as well, bro. Yeah, Fuzzle, you're killing it. Man, look, swing high, swing low. We take out the overall high of the range. Then obviously we're just looking for a short. Again, don't be an idiot. Don't try to trade market structure in market conditions where you can already clearly see for over a month now that the market is just moving sideways, right? I think it's extremely clear. So what you just do, mark out the swing high, mark out the swing low. We trade the overall range. So when the range high gets raided, as took place in this little box here that I'm going to make red for you guys, we're happy to look for a short. So then what we do is we go down one single time frame, and then we can look for a short position. Now, personally, for me, there was not an entry because the 1 hour fractal here remains bullish. But I know some of you like to be more aggressive. And then you could, for example, look at the 15-minute time frame. Now, on the 15-minute time frame, it was a lot more clear because look, here, what you have a, who knows the name of this, guys? Who knows what this is? If you're here frequently on the live streams, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I mark out this little red zone here. What is this zone? Guys, what is this zone? I want you guys to call it for me. You know what this zone is and what we expect when the overall push in towards the highs happens. So we get this overall push in towards the highs, which is a news push. And what do we then expect to happen when we see that the market starts pushing back in towards the downside? Yeah, Fuzzle, in addition to that, the 200 level is obviously a clear level of psychological support resistance. That's just acting kind of like as a key level of resistance. Yes, guys, fake demand with a news low. You guys call it, man. So what do we expect to happen with that fake low, with that news low, and with that fake demand zone? We expect it to get taken out. So then again, guys, what do we get here on the 50-minute time frame? Removing all the indicators, all the colors, everything. I don't really care about all those indicators and colors. All we need is market structure, break up, break down. Okay, so now I'm copying the exact framework that I just copied here from NZD-USD. All we're looking at here is the overall impulse in towards the downside. So then, what is the overall orange zone that we have here? That is the overall pullback. Now, when do I expect the overall pullback to be over? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows the juice, guys? Who knows when the overall pullback phase is over and we can continue with the overall red phase, which is the next impulse phase in towards the downside, where we are going to be targeting this fake area of demand and this news/liquidity low. Who knows how we can trade this? I want to see the right answer. You guys know how I call it, man. It's very simple. We have a road, and what we're looking for here, this is the road down. So what are we then looking for? We are looking for liquidity supply choke. Boom. Manjunada Swarga. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, but indeed we're looking for a bump in the road. So what do we have here? We have the blue dotted line, which is the bump in the road. So again, what do we look for? And I'm repeating myself every single time, but you can see this strategy, guys, all you're looking for is for the same thing over and over again. And you're going to lose trades, you're going to win trades, but at the end of the day, you are going to be consistently profitable. And that is what matters. So what we have here is the bump in the road. So we wait for the bump in the road to get taken out. Then what happens? Okay, so here, what happens? Boom, fractal break. So that is then the moment here that you could say, okay, Fabio, I'm ready to look for a short. Now, don't be an idiot. Try and short with such a tight stop loss to get that 5 RR. Just look, okay, where can I get, for example, a 1 to 3 or 1 to 2.5 or even a 1 to 2 risk to reward? Obviously, the lower the risk to reward, the higher the overall win rate is going to be. Then what happens if we, let's say, just put in the 1 to 2 risk to reward? Because you can see the market continues to manipulate here in towards the highs. That's why I'm personally not a massive fan nowadays of trading with those super tight stop losses or on the lower time frame. But you can see, okay, that is pretty much when the overall trend continues in towards the lows. And then you can see, okay, boom, now is the moment that it continues. And then eventually, what does the market do? Let's speed it up a little bit. Boom, it continues in towards that news low. Now the news low gets taken out, and then what do you see happening? You start seeing that GJ starts reacting back in towards the upside, literally exactly when that liquidity gets taken. It's as simple as that. Literally, it's as simple as that. All you need to do is just recognize this pattern across kind of like all these different time frames every single time over and over again. So, and you need to have the patience, right? Because I'm here live with you guys now recognizing those patterns, but you need to have the patience to be able to wait for these kind of setups to take place and to actually play out. Because the biggest danger that you now have in your mindset is that you see GJ dropping, you see it now making a 4-hour fractal break, and now you're going to be like, Fabio, I want to sell this in towards the downside. Yes, I swear, like it can play out. Obviously, this is now kind of like the 4-hour order flow, and we continue or expect this to continue back down in towards where? In towards the liquidity low. But guys, the short has now sailed. The boat is gone. They don't care about you anymore. They're going to leave you to die. So don't try and jump on the boat when the ship has already sailed, because it's literally like a cruise ship at the harbor, man. Like you have the cruise ship at the harbor, and what happens is here we have the side, the wall, and this is you over here. Like the ship is gone, right? The ship is gone. So don't, here we have sharks. This is a shark, and he's going to try and kill you if you try and jump onto the boat. So leave the boat, don't die, leave it go, let it go, and look at other pairs where you can express the same bias. So then look, for example, at Aussie yen. That, for example, still has that 4-hour area of supply still open. That is then the pair that you want to be looking at, right? To express that overall long bias on, for example, the Japanese yen. Because if GJ ultimately makes a stronger push in towards downside, Aussie yen should ultimately also go, right? So that's why personally I'm looking to trade Aussie yen as opposed to, for example, a GJ at the moment, if I were to miss GJ. Now, again, no financial advice. It's just my perspective on the market and how I look at things and how I personally express those ideas. Yeah, that shark was looking hella suspicious, man. I'm not a good drawer, guys. All I can do is just draw lines and risk to reward tools, man. I'll stick to that. So yeah, for the rest, some nice trades. USD Swiss. Yeah, so you see USD Swiss, like USD Swiss now could just dump back in towards the downside, because again, the only way that we're expressing that long is literally from that 3 monthly level. So I would really be cautious with USD Swiss. I'm not saying it's not going to push up high, but yeah, let's just make sure we don't do anything stupid, and let's really stick to the strategy. So let's keep an eye on that. Then of course, I know a lot of you love gold and want to make out with it and make love to it. So let me just have a quick look at it. I don't know, again, you guys think gold is like that 10 out of 10 in the club that will never talk to you and will also never ask your number. So sometimes just go for an Aussie yen or go for EURUSD, you know, like they're nice as well, bro, I swear. So gold has done what? Gold has done a nice liquidity sweep, right, this morning. So what we saw here was that throughout the London session here at 8 a.m. my time, so here it's currently 3 o'clock in the Netherlands, guys. So what we can see here at 8 a.m. is that we come in towards the equal lows this morning, and then after that liquidity sweep, we now see continuation. So what I'm now looking for is for gold just to continue pushing up higher. Again, at any point in time, we can see a massive sweep, but it doesn't make sense to short gold. So just continue looking for gold longs, guys. in towards the upside, and every liquidation event is an opportunity to look for a long. So when you see a 1 hour fractal break in towards the downside, don't think it's a girl flirting with you, but realize she's putting you in a trap. She's trying to make her pregnant so that you are going to be trapped in a very, very long lasting shitty relationship, because this thing is just going to hit your stop loss, right? So don't get her pregnant, man, like, because this stop loss is most likely going to get hit, you know. Like a 1 hour fractal break is not enough to say gold is going to reverse after seeing this machine pushing towards the highs. Gold is a baddie. Exactly, Abdullah. Gold is a baddie. She a baddie. She a baddie. Buddy. She's a buddy. Yeah. So this is not a gold long call, but I'm not surprised. Yeah, well, nah, I'm not gonna say it. But like, gold is gonna take out the high. Like, if it doesn't take out the high, then I don't know what's gonna happen. Talking from experience, no, Milan, no. At least not that I know of. Guys, what happened? Man, I'm just having fun, guys. I'm just having fun. I think it's just nice, you know, like, we don't always need to be too serious. I want to just have fun with you guys, you know, like, I do this all for fun, you know it. Like, I'm here on the streams just to have fun, man. So we might as well just make it fun, right? ADCHF, yeah, so ADCHF, what has it done? It's obviously grabbed a bump in the road. Looking at this from a 4 hour perspective, again, we just apply the same. I'm in that gold long, good one. I think gold is going to just continue pushing, man, throughout the New York session, but let's see. Overall, again, impulsive phase in towards the downside, so we have that impulsive phase. Then what we do, we mark out the overall liquidity points, aka bumps in the road. So here we have the bump in the road, the main one, and here we have the second one. So again, the bump in the road takes place, the fractal structure break after taking out the overall liquidity high. Then what happens, you get the overall fractal break taking place over here. That then means that this buy before the sell is your area of supply. The first, let's say, reaction has now been taken. So yeah, it makes sense. If the current fractal low breaks, then look for some more shorts. The only thing that's standing in the way between us and making a shit ton of money on AUD-CHF is the free M, and it's not some kind of crazy drug or party drug, because free M sounds like some really cool shit, but free M is the free monthly level. That is a very strong level of support. So watch out, because it's very strong and it can get you hooked and addicted and make you lose a lot of money. So I would really wait for kind of like a little bit more momentum to get in. So I would prefer that free monthly level to break, turn into resistance, and then I'll just get in on the overall order flow back down towards this overall swing low that we have over here. That's how I would kind of do, because there's still so much not for me, man. I wish you a lot of luck, man, if you sell gold. Like, guys, we have a victim. Who's gonna tell him? Who is gonna tell Shahrukh Momin? Who's gonna tell Shahrukh that? Well, you know what's gonna happen, most likely. Who's gonna tell him, guys? Somebody tell him. Tell him, man, in the chat. Yeah, AUD-USD still bullish, free monthly level acting as support. Yeah, for me, no shorts, man. What's with the analogies? They banging. Thanks, brother. I've been working on them, man. I have a little notebook, you know, like over here, and maybe one day I'll show you guys. You can see it's like all empty, but it's because I write with some secret pen, and like you can only see the text if you do use like this special light that only I have. So maybe one day I'll kind of like open up a book and make a YouTube video. Does he know? I don't think he knows, Nathan, but somebody needs to tell him, because you know, guys, in here I think like 95% of the people who watch these streams is a man, so that's why I can talk a little bit more about men stuff. But yeah, I mean, boys between, or men between men, guys, let's save him. UV light, yeah, Dibio. Euro AUD, I don't know, but when you say UV light, I just think of a UAV from it's a UAV, right, from Call of Duty. UAV. That makes you see everybody on the mini map. UAV, yeah, UAV, yeah, UAV. Yeah, EURUSD. Yeah, look, guys. So EURUSD was one of those pairs as well where I'm really happy that I didn't get screwed on, because this was also, or had the potential to kind of like screw me over, because you can kind of see here that EURUSD was with this area of demand here, right? So this overall sell before the buy. And I remember a lot of us were looking for like longs in towards the high, because you kind of could say that this was the overall swing market structure. Now, I must say the actual swing structure is obviously, this is the low break, so this is the high break, so this is a swing low, this is a swing high, so it's still bullish. But I was being very cautious with EURUSD because it broke the overall liquidity low, or it grabbed liquidity underneath this low here. But then again, just turn on the indicator. It's like here, the 3 monthly level, again, acting as a natural area of resistance. So that's why I was really cautious with kind of like saying like, I think like EURUSD could be a good long, because you just see that 3 monthly level kind of like acting as natural resistance. So yeah, it's really a level that I've been taking into a lot more consideration as of recent. And yeah, I think it could help you guys as well. So yeah, make sure to check it out. It's kind of like, well, it's, yeah, if I would have to nah, I'm not going to explain an analogy. You guys just know what it is. I'll be nice and boring from now on. You guys know what it is. It's the 3 monthly level. If you want an analogy, maybe I'll give you guys one if you really want me to say it. But USD JPY we talked about, EURUSD we talked about, GPUSD we talked about, XAG, silver. Yeah, silver been chilling. Silver can also be very dangerous, guys. Abdullah, check out the first link in the description of this video. Yeah, Joep is Dutch. So Joep, when I say free M, bro, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Your audio is in and out. I think my audio is working fine. Guys, yeah, I wouldn't sell XAG. Obviously, it's chopping in towards the highs, but it's just following gold for now. So yeah, I'm not really looking to trade this. I would only be looking for kind of like a long, just tap the weekly level open. So yeah, maybe some short-term longs back in towards the highs again. It's given a 50-minute fractal break, by the way. So it's kind of like looking good for some more upside to take out these descending highs. Sal, could you do a YouTube video on opens? Yes, I will. Yes, come on, gold, push towards the high. This is one of those things, I'm not in it, but I would just love for it to push. Boom. And where is he, bro? I hope he's not in that gold sell, because gold is gonna make him regret his life decisions. We all know what happened, and we never heard of him again. GP Swiss, what are we looking for? GP Swiss, bro, what are we looking for? Don't you think that this strategy is too hard because it's really discretionary? No, username, it is not discretionary. It's very simple. But would the long have been valid with the FTB? Are you talking about EURUSD, Lauren? He's pregnant now. Yes, he is. Rip him, buddy. Yeah, as inderdaad, ciao. Yeah, sometimes, man, I think we should do some streams in Dutch as well, man. GPAUD. Let's have a look at GBPAUD. GPAUD. So GPAUD has been continuing its overall leg down. This is one of those pairs as well. Just guys, it's been so consolidative. GPAUD. Overall, it's very similar to just kind of like a range pair. Like overall, I've been looking for more downside. Guys, if GPAUD sells to this yearly level, I will sell my house, even though I don't have a house. Like, I don't own a house, but like I would sell my... No, I'm not going to say that on the stream because somebody's going to quote me and take me to court. But I think it would be a nice potential opportunity to make a decent return if we were to long from the yearly open after grabbing the liquidity underneath these ascending lows. I think that is more accurate explanation of what I would like to do with GPAUD. In other words, I would buy a shit ton of GPAUD if it hits this yearly open, because I would fucking love it if it were to move there. That would be nice, because that would take out the beginning of this trendline liquidity and we would hit that yearly level. Oof, it would see a daily kind of like fractal break back in towards the highs. That would be juicy. For the rest, GBP/AUD has been continuously selling in towards the downside. Again, if you look at this from the 4-hour time frame, you can clearly see that we pretty much take out a bump in the road here. After this bump in the road was taken out and we broke back down below the 3 monthly level, you can see we get the fractal break 1, fractal break 2 in towards the downside with quite some momentum. Kind of like the double fractal break here is what you were looking for. Stop loss above the highs, doing the inverse risk to reward tool. But this double fractal break in towards the downside, that would be some nice stuff, man. All the way back down in towards the lows. 1 to 3 hit. Yeah, that was a nice one. So yeah, I mean, for GBP/AUD, I would, yeah, I would want to see some more lower prices. I'm not really looking to go long. I would just look for short term for this still to potentially continue pushing down quite a bit. But I could be wrong, but that's more longer term. I don't really see it kind of like bouncing, completely reversing in towards the highs. Yeah, Jimmy came through with that trade. USD CAD has been capitalizing on some dollar bullishness today. Overall, what can I say? Yeah, USD CAD still in supply, still has equal lows open. I would prefer one more sell-off in towards the downside. USD CAD has just not been moving like it, if I'm very honest. Very choppy, very consolidated, very stuck. Just because the dollar had bad news on Friday and the Canada had bad news on Friday, that's why it's been moving so choppy. So not really something that I would be looking to trade at the moment, unless we do what? We swipe this low and then we swipe equal lows, and then I would potentially look for another long in towards the highs. But where it's currently trading at, not really a nice, interesting level. Username. Do you have problems with swaps? No, only to be honest if I trade Swiss pairs, but I don't really trade Swiss pairs. So otherwise I don't really have problems with swaps, to be honest. Can I take a gold long at this price, guys? Let's see. Yes, we broke the high. We saved another brother. He saw the light, I hope. But yeah, I hope you guys just understand again. I talked about this, but yeah, obviously again, liquidity swipe. In this bull run on gold, you just want to buy every liquidity swipe, man. Exactly. Please, what channel can I join for the daily market analysis? Go to this YouTube channel over here. Let me show you. This is where I post the daily market updates. But yeah, no, super guys to see that. So yeah, I mean, for the rest, what can I say? I'm just looking for ADJPY to sell off. That's my main conviction play at the moment that I like. For the rest, most pairs have played out already. USD yen has played out, GJ has played out. So I'm mainly looking now for Aussie yen to continue. And that is my main pick. And then gold, obviously, kind of like on every single buying opportunity that you have, you pretty much want to be looking for those buys. AUD/USD I've discussed already. Not really a pair. Yes, Jimmy, AUD/JPY I'm in. For AUD/USD, I'm not really looking to short this yet because the 4-hour fractal is still bullish, the 3-month level is still in the way, and we have this liquidity high here open still, so I would want to see that get taken. If you are looking to long the dollar then and go short on XXX/USD, then I would personally short NZD/USD if we were to see a 4-hour fractal break. And take out, once we see a 4-hour fractal break, as simple as that. So here, bump in the road gets taken out, and then you would want to see the 4-hour fractal break take place. That would be a better shorting opportunity, in my opinion, than AUD/USD. So yeah, guys, I love you all bits to bits. I love you all bit to bits, or something. I think that's how you say it. I appreciate you all. Means a lot, again, that you take the time to come onto these streams. Appreciate it. Means a lot. See you guys in Discord. Make sure to be inside the Discord server. A link is in the description of this video. I'm there every single day. Just tag me. There's a competition going on at the moment in the events channel, so make sure to vote for your winner. The winner gets a 20k challenge. I'll be doing some more events as well. If you have any ideas what you want to see on the stream or inside Discord, as always, let me know. And yeah, guys, love you all. Great analogies today, whatever you want to call it. I love you all. I'll see you soon, and yeah, have a good afternoon, guys. I'm gonna be inside Discord, and let's do some Discord screams. Let's do some Discord streams as well, guys. Thanks and ciao. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream, by the way. Thanks.